They say there are places that not only remember death, but breathe with it. And there are forgotten dwellings that, like open wounds in the fabric of time, never heal. This is one of those houses, and I am the Raven, not just a winged observer, but the messenger of stories that should not be told. Yet you continue to listen. Welcome to the 5th tale of the haunted house. The Ellingworth family was a symbol of power and mystery in the late 19th century. The patriarch, Sebastian Ellingworth, was a magnate in rail transport and lead mining, rapidly amassing wealth by exploiting natural resources in colonial England. A cultured yet eccentric man, Sebastian believed that the physical world was merely a superficial layer of reality. It was said that he owned a forbidden library, with books brought from the East, Africa, and even from pre-human civilizations. The Ellingworth Mansion, built with imported materials and a sinister Victorian architecture, was raised on the hills of Wrenmoor Place, avoided by ancient druids and feared by the nearby villagers. There, he lived with his wife Agatha and their 2 children, Lionel and Edith. But in 1892, a strange fire devastated part of the north wing of the house. Reports indicated screams, but no bodies were officially found. What was known afterward was that Sebastian, devastated and insane, began to live alone. It was said that he spoke to the walls, fed shadows with his own blood, and compulsively wrote in diaries that no one ever managed to read. He would die 2 years later, completely mad, leaving behind a house that resembled a sanctuary of oblivion and the rumor that something had been sealed beneath the floor. Ezra Mallory, 37 years old and single, was a well-known figure on social media and in the gym for his rational approach to the paranormal. A clinical psychologist specializing in psychopathology, he founded the channel Beyond the Veil, with over 1.2 million subscribers, where he analyzed cases of hauntings with scientific rigor, debunking frauds and explaining phenomena through behavioral psychology. Charismatic, eloquent, and always dressed in a black shirt and round glasses, Ezra was a methodical man, but extremely curious. His audience loved him for his calmness in the face of the absurd. It was in October, around the 10th, that he received a letter with no return address. A letter on yellowed paper, written in ink that looked like rust, inviting him to observe the truth of Wrenmoor. Included was a key and a map with precise instructions. Ezra thought it might be a prank, but the content was disturbing enough to motivate his visit. And of course, it would make for an excellent documentary series. First day Ezra arrived at the mansion in the late afternoon, under a dense fog that seemed to move around the car. He carried 4K cameras, thermal sensors, parabolic microphones, and a field diary. As he opened the rusty gate, the creak sounded like a contained scream. The mansion was intact, despite the abandonment. Darkened wood, cracked stained glass, and immense doors that seemed to breathe. In the first video, Ezra presented the mansion to his followers, exploring the main hall, the dining room, and the library. There was a heavy atmosphere, but no concrete evidence. "It's just another old house," he said. In the early morning, however, during the recording of the guest room, the camera picked up a low, guttural voice under the floor. "He is still here, ... Ezra tried to dismiss it as interference or background noise, but upon reviewing the audio, the voice seemed to respond directly to what he was saying. The next morning, he found deep scratches on the inside of the door. Second day, mirrors became a point of attention. When passing by them, his reflection appeared delayed. Sometimes, he smiled on his own. Other times, it showed deep circles under his eyes that Ezra did not have. He began to document this in daily videos, and his followers noticed changes in his behavior. He was more tense, spoke in whispers, and constantly looked back. Third day in the early morning, he found a row of dead rats, arranged with surgical precision in the hallway leading to the basement. Their eyes had been ripped out, and symbols of dried blood formed what appeared to be runes. The images were recorded, but all were corrupted, not even the backups worked. Ezra reported feeling nauseous and having headaches during the edits. His appearance was beginning to change. Fourth day, the putrid smell started subtle and intensified. It came from the walls. Ezra ripped off wallpaper, checked the plumbing and beams. Nothing physical. The odor seemed to emanate from the structure of the house, as if it were a breathing corpse. The videos became darker, the speech more hesitant. He began to report dreams of organic, pulsating tunnels, with a child without eyes calling him father. Fifth day, Ezra began to confuse reality with dreams. He woke up with his feet dirty from dirt, hearing the child during the day. In the videos, there was no longer a soundtrack or cuts, just silence, slow images, and crooked angles. He found, in the attic, a box with the diaries of Sebastian Ellingworth. There, he read about the pact with Witala Kriya, an entity predating humanity. Sealed beneath the house with the sacrifice of his firstborn, he decided to go live reading the diaries. The audience skyrocketed. With each page read, the descriptions grew more disturbing. Blood rituals, words in dead languages, drawings that seemed to move on their own. Comments began to fill the screen. "Get out of that house now. You're not the same anymore. EZRA. Something is behind you." As he read, his followers reported movements in the background. Doors closing by themselves. Shadows passing, the image distorting. Ezra seemed to ignore it. Or worse, he was becoming increasingly absorbed, fascinated. His eyes were deeper, his voice quieter. He smiled into nothingness. When a mirror behind him showed a figure standing and watching. Thousands of people watched, live in panic. "Ezra, please, get out." But he kept reading. Then, suddenly, the live stream cut out. Black screen. No sound. No warning. Just silence. Sixth day. Next morning, Ezra did not record any videos. He slept poorly, or perhaps he didn't sleep at all. Followers began to report that their faces appeared distorted in the old videos, as if Ezra's presence now affected the digital past. When he reappeared around 10 a.m., his appearance was radically different. Pale skin, sunken eyes, trembling hands. He spoke little, avoiding the camera. In the recording found later, Ezra descended into the basement as if he knew exactly where to go. Removing floorboards, he revealed a hidden chamber made of black stone covered in slime. In the center, a sarcophagus, with inscriptions that did not belong to any known language. Ezra murmured inaudible things. He touched the sarcophagus. The camera fell. The last recorded sound was, "You freed him, ... The thing that emerged from the sarcophagus was not just ancient. It was the very concept of horror, shapeless and unclassifiable. Its limbs twisted like tentacles, and human arms fused with the jaws of extinct animals. There were too many eyes. There were mouths where they should not exist. From all of them came sounds, not voices, but blasphemous prayers in tongues that no one had ever spoken without going mad. The camera light flickered violently. Ezra screamed, but not with his own voice. Something was speaking through him, and it was like hearing all of his loved ones whispering horrors at the same time. The thermal sensors exploded in red, and then went dark. Ezra fell to his knees. The floor seemed to open up in raw flesh. The walls trembled, as if they were breathing in agony. The mansion was alive and hungry. A monstrous hand, with fingers made of human bones and horns, slowly enveloped Ezra. He looked at the camera for the last time, and smiled. But it wasn't him. The transmission continued for 2 more minutes with a blurred image of pulsating walls and a children's song in the background, played in a distorted manner. Then, absolute silence. And then, something very close to the screen whispered, "We are connected now."